Welcome to Specialty Marketing Consultants, marketing you can do right now. The podcast with your host, Rod Harder.
Welcome back. Rod Harder here. We're talking about the second half of a speech that I recently gave at the Daytona Beach Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to pick up on the second half of this. If you didn't hear the first part, go back. I believe it's podcast 114. This is podcast 115. So go back to that if you missed the first part. So we're going to talk about 13 strategies to position your business unlike any of your competitors. So we're going to pick up on strategy number 6, develop key alliance partners. So what do I mean about that? You work and have relationships with businesses that don't compete with you. Companies that don't have a dog in your fight. They're not your competitors, but they can help you. And if you get with them, if you sit down together, go to lunch or meet them somewhere, have a cup of coffee, and just talk about what you can do to help them, how you can bring value to their business and help them market and advertise their business, work out a couple of things together, and sure enough, they're going to want to help you. It's the law of reciprocity. You do enough nice things for somebody, and they're going to want to do something nice for you. So this is a great way for you to get that strategy out there. Position strategy number 7 is to give your best stuff away for free. When I first heard this, I heard it from a gentleman by the name of Eben Pagan. He is a top marketer. And years ago, he said, if you really want to grow prospects and convert them into customers, clients, or patients, give your best stuff away for free. So you might be asking yourself, why would you do that? Think about that. If your business has that opportunity, do it. Put it in writing. Do little audios. Shoot little short videos on your smartphone. Post them. Get exposure. Advertise your business. Give your best stuff away for free. Now, position strategy number 8 is one I love, and I think it ties into a couple of the other things we're going to talk about here in a minute. And that is simply more cheese, less whiskers. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any time, you've heard me talk about the strategy of more cheese, less whiskers. So here's what that means. I'll use the analogy of a mouse. A mouse is a pretty primitive, basic little creature. They have 2 primary goals in life: find cheese and avoid whiskers. So as you take that analogy and apply it to your business, the moment your prospect detects cheese, something that's important or valuable to them, you're going to attract them, just like a mouse would be to a piece of cheese. In their little primitive mind, senses anything that resembles whiskers. They're going to think to themselves, I'm going to be eaten. There's a cat around the corner and he's going to pounce on me. Your prospects are no different. They're intuitive. They can still sense a sales pitch coming a mile away. They, like the mouse, will sense your presentation as those whiskers, a cat ready to pounce on them. So don't do that. Give more cheese, less whiskers. The more value you can give up front, the more help, the more information, the more strategies, the more advice you can sell and deliver it in bite-sized pieces with your emails, sales letters, website copy, all of that. The more you're going to attract people, the more they're going to see that you're there to help them and you're qualified to do so. Avoid the whiskers at all cost. If you give a lot of good advice out in advance, people really qualify and close themselves. Over time, they're going to see that you're the person they should be doing business with. You don't have to sell, you just educate and help. Position strategy number 9 is to set up a lead generation system. So what is that? A lead generation system is not only a very powerful marketing strategy, it's something that has a long shelf life. Whatever your product or service, your prospects have an interest in whatever it is you're selling. So what is it that you provide that you can share with your prospects that your competitors aren't covering? Think of it as pulling the curtain back and exposing a part of your business that others won't talk about. Whatever that may be, Get together, develop a strategy, have a little game plan, and put together something in the way of a free report, a consumer awareness guide, an ebook, maybe even a book, like I've talked about earlier in this podcast. This is your lead generation system, or the cheese that you want to dangle in front of your ideal prospects. And remember, you're not trying to throw a big net over a broad audience. You want to niche it down to your ideal prospects. So look at who you have as ideal customers and see what common denominators they have. Then write your report, put together a compelling headline, and do a lead generation ad in a neighborhood newspaper. Put it together in whatever periodical or some place where your ideal prospects go to get their information and news. Find the parade and go stand in front of it. Get in their way. Put a small lead generation ad somewhere in this neighborhood newsletter or regional newspaper or somewhere in your community where your ideal prospects get their information. Put a headline on there that gets their attention, like the 5 things the insurance business hopes you never discover. To get this information, order my free report. And then you take them to a self-standing landing page, a simple one-page website called a landing page, and you give all that information away. You might even add some other perks to it, like a series of free audios or maybe a few short 1-minute videos. Tally that all up, put a value on it. Tell people it's a $49 or $39 value, but you're giving it to them for free. Thanks to the world of digital marketing, you can have this information uploaded on your website, and the moment someone gives you their email address, they'll instantly have access to the information they want. Now that exchange has been made, and now you have something very important to you. You have their email address. Somebody out there in the community, or the country for that matter, has raised their hand, identified themselves as somebody who at some level is interested in what you have to say. So now you have made that exchange. They have your information, and you know what's going to happen? They're going to go through it. They're either going to listen or read or watch whatever you've sent them, and they're going to say, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. They're also giving me a lot of good information, a lot of advice. When you eliminate the sales process, you increase the likelihood of trust going up or their resistance and skepticism going down. I often use the analogy that if you wanted to catch a bird, what would you do? Well, some people say they'd build a little bird cage. You know, some people say they'd build a trap, and if a bird happens to come and get the food in the trap, you pull the string. You remember how we used to do as kids. Other people might say, well, I'd get a net and I'd go off in the woods and I'd look for the bird I want to catch. Now, compare that to this analogy. What, instead of a cage or a net, you built a bird feeder, and you built a nice water bath right next to it, and you provided the ideal bird that you want to catch with the exact food that they love, that they cannot resist. But you didn't stop there. You added a fence. You put something around this bird feeder, and you protected these birds from their natural predators. Now you've given them a safe haven where they can come and go as they wish. Well, think of your lead generation system the same way. It is a safe haven where people that you want to attract as clients or customers can come and get their information at their will. Give them as much value and trust and help as you can. Let them have what they want. In the traditional world of sales, when you call on somebody, you're a pest. And until you show them otherwise, you're going to stay a pest. So your goal with a lead generation system is to go from a pest to a welcome guest as fast as you can. You'll attract people. You won't be chasing them. You will show up like nobody else. This segues perfectly into positioning strategy number 10, which is to have or get an email autoresponder. If you're not familiar with the term, it's one of the most powerful, inexpensive, automated software programs that you can have for your business. They're incredible. There are many to choose from. Some are free. I happen to pay $20 a month for mine. I use a company called AWeber. What it allows you to do is write emails in advance and then determine the frequency you want them released. So if you have 10 people on an email list or 100,000, you can determine how often you want your email sent to people. And depending on when they sign up is when they get their emails. So you might have somebody getting their first email today and then their second email in 3 or 4 days and then one a week from that day, while somebody else who signed up to get your free information could be on their 15th email and they're getting their sequence once a week. This helps you develop an incredible personal relationship with the people who stay with you. Now, you're going to have people who get your free report or your audio, whatever you give them as your freemium, your free bait, the cheese that you put out there. Some will stay with you, some will leave. The ones who hang around enjoy and appreciate the information you're sharing with them. If somebody opts out, they were never going to be a client anyway. They were just going to take your time. So your system basically sifts and sorts and qualifies people. Get rid of the tire kickers and the looky-loos, the ones who don't want your business. They just want to use you. So instead of taking up your time, they read a few emails and they say, well, there's nothing here for me to take, so I'm going to leave. Good for them. See ya. Those who hang around, you continue to send emails out with tips, advice, strategies, shortcuts. Be a problem solver. Occasionally bring up some of the services or products that you offer, but gradually work into that because you're building a relationship. And if they stay with you long enough, they're going to qualify themselves. Now, position strategy number 11 is something called information products or info products. You may have heard of it. To a small degree, some people have been doing it for a while, but thanks to the world of digital marketing, it's opened up a whole world for anybody to step right in. It's the most profitable business ever devised. There's several reasons for this. There's virtually no overhead. It replaces manual labor, no cold calling or that sort of thing. And someone who buys from you or someone who gets your information will likely stay with you and buy again. And as I said, there's almost no money to get started, just your time. From a professional standpoint, whatever your niche, industry, or business is, if you're a pro, start sharing information with people, much like a lead generation system. Then you can introduce some of your information products. Keep it professional and sell in tiny bite-sized pieces what you do professionally. You're almost a consultant on paper. The opportunities are endless here. You can do anything, whatever your profession is. But it doesn't stop there. You can do dieting, exercise, nutrition, time management, personal organizational skills, self-esteem. The options are absolutely endless. And from a hobby standpoint, it opens up another huge door. You can niche out any industry or business or group that you'd like. You can niche it out to any group. For example, instead of giving tips and advice to golfers in general or women in general, niche it out. If you're a golfer over 50, why not set up an information product for women who are over 50? That would be far more appealing as an information product to just women golfers. The opportunities are as broad as your creativity. You can take this anywhere. Specific breeds for dogs and cats, fishing, hunting, wine, cigar clubs, you name it. For example, anything about beautifying the inside or outside of your home. I think you get my point. Key here, give a few things away for free, attract them, get them in your pipeline, and then gradually work them up an ascension ladder. You might give them something free, then charge $5, then you charge $10. You can eventually work them into some sort of seminar or webinar, maybe group coaching, and then ultimately, if that's your game, you could do private consulting. Think about this. What if you got $5, $10, $15 a month from a whole lot of people every month, like a continuity program? Okay, position strategy number 12. Position your business with short YouTube videos. Now, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you should get one. They're free and they're very powerful. Just start a channel. Go to YouTube, either get some help, outsource it, but you can set up a YouTube channel in about an hour. Your YouTube channel, the videos that you post there can be cross-utilized or cross-promoted to your newsletter, to your blog, to your website, or just about any other promotional marketing that you're doing. Start by doing a series of 1-minute videos. Use your smartphone, and as you get going with this, come up initially with your list of frequently asked questions, the ones that your prospects ask you over and over, and shoot a series of videos. Make sure you name each video the same as the question that people would ask you. Now, why would you do that? Anybody that's sitting on their computer or using their smartphone and typing in a question, you want it to match the name of your video. Not only will your video come up in YouTube, but it's likely that it'll give you higher ranking on your website. Google owns YouTube, so there is a natural interest and a priority for Google. Anytime there is a video online, it ranks with Google. Okay, as we wrap this up with position strategy number 13, this is, last but not least, my favorite. And that is, I highly urge you to either start or join a mastermind group. It is the ultimate form of collaboration. People who join these type groups know that school is never out for the pro. And if you're not a student, you're going to go down the other side of the slope. If you're not constantly educating and finding out how the internet and offline marketing is working for your business, you're going to slip. A mastermind group is like oxygen to a fire. Without that unique energy and motivation, the fire will surely go out. Now, nobody has ever accomplished more on their own than they have with other like-minded individuals, people who share your same thoughts. They have no dog in your fight, so they're not competing with you. They want to see you succeed, and you want to see them succeed. When you get in a mastermind group and you go around the table and you spend 30 to 45 minutes working on each person's business, their biggest marketing challenges, and you help them find solutions to their problems, it's incredibly beneficial. There is no proof that anybody has ever accomplished more on their own than they have had with the help of others. Well, that wraps it up. I want to thank you for listening to this particular podcast. If you'd like to go back and haven't heard part 1 of this 2-part podcast about the 13 position strategies, I urge you to do so now. Listen to these, pick out 1, pick out 2, and go to work on them. Don't let this whole thing overwhelm you. Find one that works for your business. I highly recommend that you start a newsletter if you don't have one, and then develop a lead generation system. Those are the 2 biggies that if you're new at this, I would start there. Well, you know what's going to happen when you do this. We're going to see you right at the top. Thanks again for listening. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.